Hello, Internet. A very sweaty horror of a hewlett today. That was miserable, I gotta say. Some days the burn and learns are just horrible. And maybe it's something to do with all the coffee crisps I ate last night. I was going through Baz's stuff, just picking out all the coffee crisps because they're kind of my favorite. I have to say thank you so much, first of all, for all of your comments about the bullying. You guys are amazing. The stories, the advice, and just your own experiences with this stuff has just been fantastic. Keep it coming. I'm going to try to compile this into some kind of a a guide for Sebastian and his friends and stuff. So and maybe for you guys if you want it. So please and thank you for all of that. Baz has been very lucky. His experiences with being bullied have been fairly minor. There's been a few things that I've worried about, but the recent ones have been more his concern for other kids who are being bullied. He was bullied in tandem with another kid, and the other kid took it much, much worse than Baz did. For some reason, Baz is able to roll with it a bit better than this guy does, and so he was really worried about him and a couple of other kids who he felt weren't equipped to deal with it the way that other kids were. So, it's sad, but I mean, as I've heard from your stories, I mean, a lot of people are bullied. I mean, it sounds like the vast majority of us were, and in some cases, we bullied. I was confessing to someone online the other day that I've been a part of those groups picking on obnoxious kids at school as we thought they were, and then felt miserable about it. And to this day, I regret being a part of a couple of incidents back when I was Baz's age, and then being on the other side of it. I mean, I said this the other day as well, that I gave up the tenor saxophone because while I was holding it, I couldn't run fast enough to escape the kids who used to sort of attack me every day on the way back from the bus stop to home. It was just horrible. I hated it, and I was terrified of losing this expensive instrument to these kids. So yeah, it's a horrible experience, but something I guess we all have to go through, and it's about how you deal with it more than trying to avoid it, I think. Although avoiding it's also a good one by the sound of it as well. It sounds like I'm going to have a word with the school because it does seem to be getting a bit out of hand, and I am, if Baz is worried about these kids, then I am too. So, but thank you for all of your comments. The other thing on my Burn and Learn today has been about sort of online bullying to some extent. I mean, this whole like wars thing, I'm in the conclusion of that, and it's talking about how ill-equipped we are to deal with this stuff and how important it is to educate our governments, our people, and our kids to this stuff. And one of the suggestions that I thought was brilliant, which I think I'm going to try to do with the tech terrors, maybe even the school as a whole if they're up for it, is teaching them about these tools that can manipulate audio, that can manipulate video and photos and make these fakes look so real. Just to make sure that kids are discerning in what they're watching and what they're liking, and that they're not necessarily believing everything that they see, but also that we must stop rewarding people for this stuff, and we need to start holding people accountable for it, not rewarding them for it with vast viewer numbers and big advertising accounts. I mean, this is so backwards, and it needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed by talking to our kids about it and making them aware of what's going on and how we screwed it up and how they can fix it. If there's a way to fix it, I'm sure there is. So there you go. That's the Burn and Learn for today. Sorry, a bit somber today, but it makes sense because I'm dying. It's the most miserable workout I've done so far. I don't know why, but boy, that was just the hardest. It was the hardest. I think I went to 40 minutes today, but it was the hardest 40 minutes I've had in a long time. So until we geek again, sweaty or not, cheerio!